Welcome to Only One You Need Radio. We're not the only one you need. You are. We just show you how to get out of your own way. With your host, speaker, author, business coach, and consultant, David Dubé.
Welcome to Only One You Need Radio. It's your host, David Dubé. So excited for you to be joining me here today because we are talking about the problem with self-help. Yes, I said it, the problem with self-help. You might be thinking, that's bizarre. Why is there a problem with self-help? Or you're thinking, geez, I totally agree. There's a problem with self-help. And there is. If you didn't know it, now you do. Now, you probably don't know what that problem is just yet, but I'm going to get to that. So before I do, I want to ask you to do me a solid. Subscribe to this channel if you like it. If you're getting good information here, that would be greatly appreciated. All right. So what is the problem? The problem is this. Self-help, innately, one must have a problem in order to seek improvement. Would you agree to that? In order to seek improvement on something, we have to first admit, hey, there's a problem here. Why is this a problem? You know, if I feel like I'm stuck with something, because doesn't feeling stuck suck? Yeah, it sucks. It's terrible. No one likes to feel stuck. But what happens is we feel separate from the solution. Now, I'd like to ask more questions here of you, one of which would be, how many people, experts, gurus are you currently following? How many people are you currently chasing because they have the results or the answers that you want yourself? And how many have you gone through? How many have you cycled through? Like, you used to follow this person and then you felt like you weren't getting the results there. So you found someone else and you were following them, but you didn't get the results there. And now you're on your 8th person. Yeah? You with me here? Now, maybe that's not you, but hear me out on this. You're saying you're broken, that you aren't enough. And what happens is we often seek out this information. We want the answers. And the craziest thing about it is you find that you feel separate from the answer because you feel separate from the result. You haven't received that result yet. It's not your result, it's someone else's result, but you're looking at it and they're telling you about it. The irony here is that you're saying and stating that you aren't enough or that you are broken, when in actuality, before I get to that answer to that, I want to ask you a question and relate it to nature. Okay, you're like, well, why nature? Good question. Listen, and you'll learn. A seed. Now, before, after, or during the process of planting that seed, now, this is nature in general, does the seed at any point deny itself the process of what its purpose is? Yes or no? Of course not. That's a ridiculous question, isn't it, David? Yeah, it is. But this is nature. We, you and I, are a part of nature. Same thing. Everything here, the birds and the bees, are part of nature. They do what they do, and they do it perfectly. Yes, today on my way home from the gym, a flock of geese decided to run out nearly in front of my car. Thankfully, I was able to get around them, and then they stopped traffic, and those things happen. But they do what they do, and they do it perfectly, don't they? We do what we do, and when we feel like we haven't done it perfectly, our lives have ended. Oh my God, I failed, oh my God. Because we feel that the result that we, all the effort we put in and the result we got wasn't exquisite. It wasn't what we were hoping for, that now we are failures. We are not enough. We are broken. You are not broken. You are enough. You are. It's crazy, but it's true. And it's crazy that it's not that crazy, actually. See, we separate ourselves from the result so much, the result we want, rather, so much so that we fail to act. We fail to do, and because we fail to do, we keep seeking for more answers. Let me give you a perfect example of how me, myself, and I are the result of what I'm talking about right now. Podcasting. This show right here, right now, I've had the equipment to do this show since 2008. Think about that. I've had the answer sitting in my closet since 2008. And what did I do? In fact, even before 2008, I remember meeting with a couple of my friends who were videographers. And I told them way back when, I was like, I want to get this domain, which I ended up purchasing and don't have any longer, so I'm not going to say it here. And I was like, I want to do anywhere between 60-second and 1-minute videos and post them on YouTube. And guess what? I didn't do that either. And to think, right? Like right now, it's one of those, you could go back and you could say, what? Where would I have been, right, if I had done just that? So that's what this comes down to, is we have the answers, but we fail to act on them. We find that we are separate from the solution. And because we are separated from the solution, we don't ever attain anything. And so we're always seeking, because the knowledge is so much easier to attain than the act of doing and the result of having it, right? We feel it's so separate from us that, and we know that knowledge is so easy to attain, we constantly seek the knowledge of, and yet we lack the action because the result seems so far away, even though we already know what to do. What is the purpose of only when you need? Only when you need. I'm not the only one you need. You are. I just help you get out of your own way. So we have to relinquish the idea that we, you and I, aren't enough, that we are not whole. Because let me relate to nature again. When does a tree stop growing? There's only one time that a tree stops growing. Just one time. When it dies. That's it. Otherwise, every single year, it continues to grow. Every single day, in some way, it's growing. You naturally grow. It's an innate part of who we are. It's human nature. But we separate ourselves from it and say, in this area, we aren't growing anymore. Right? In an earlier episode, I talked about the two directions we move in life. There's only two. You're either growing or you're dying. And in death, it's, for us, it's not death, it's stagnation. You don't go to the gym, your body does what? What happens to your body? It atrophies. And when it atrophies, it starts to die. It's like, why don't you drink from a puddle? Well, because it's not flowing, right? You're supposed to drink from a flowing river or a stream, not from a puddle. Now, I'm not telling you to go do either of these, but the difference here is that life is in the river, right? Life is in a stream. It's constantly being filtered. I mean, the Mississippi, maybe not, but a puddle is just sitting there. So what happens when things sit there? They become stagnant. And then things that end up in there die. There's a complete distinction here. And when you separate yourself from the result so much so, it will never be yours. It'll always be something you're chasing. When I meet with clients, 99.99% of the time, the answer is already there. And all that we do is we work on exposing the real answer. And I don't tell them anything. I don't have to tell them much. I'm the sounding board that helps them release what's already within them. And we all need this. All of us need this. I go through many times, many stages where I need this myself. That's why I'm coached. It's crazy to find this, to realize this. And when you do realize it, you find that you're not separate from the answer anymore, and that you are enough, and that you are whole. And that's the important part. Knowing that you are whole, that it's not separate from you. So release the idea that it's not already within you. And when you do that, you begin to unlock the real true potential within you to achieve the result that you know you already are capable of achieving because it's not separate from you. This is why people cry and complain and moan about The Secret doesn't work, or that Anthony Robbins or whoever the guru or the expert is, why their stuff doesn't work for them. It's because they believe it's separate from them. And then they will always chase the next thing because it's easier to chase knowledge than to actually do any work to get any result anyway. But we separate ourselves so often from that result that we never actually achieve it. If you feel that you need more help in this area, find me. Go to onlyoneYouNeed.com. You can find me at Only One You Need pretty much anywhere across any social media platform. And reach out, and we can have a discussion about it. This is what I do. So if you can begin to do that, the results will start to happen, and you will see them in your life more frequently. And then they're not separate from you, and you'll have more of what it is that you know you deserve to have in your life. Isn't that worth it? I know it is, and you know it is. If you felt this episode was useful, then subscribe and then share it out. Because if this helped you, why not help other people? Makes sense, doesn't it? So do it. Also, rate me on iTunes. That'd be greatly appreciated. If you're on YouTube, subscribe and leave a comment. That'd be appreciated. It's Dave Dubé with Only One You Need Radio. It's time that you be the person you're meant to be. Believe in all that you're capable of and become more than you thought possible. I look forward to catching you on the next episode. Take care.